Hello, all. Jace here. Um, Today we're going to go over that Kamala Harris, Oprah Winfrey nightmare. I know everybody's been doing videos on it. I know you guys have seen the word salads. You've seen her opening and closing remarks and the lack of substance within them. So we're not gonna do that. You guys have already seen it, and you've heard one iteration or another of all them speeches before. What we're going to focus on today is I'm just going to put on there the questions that she was asked, and I'll put some text up there so you guys can remember, because it's really hard to remember going off of the context of her answers what the original question was. Um, the question that was asked, and then you guys can listen to the answers. Um, judge for yourself. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, follow, comment, subscribe, and we'll get right into it.
You know, we each have those moments in our lives where it's time to step up.
Time to step up.
Time to step up, you know?
Well, the moment you heard, I mean, I really have been saying to people, it felt like a veil dropped and you sort of stepped through that veil. Did you feel like that?
I felt a sense of responsibility, to be honest with you. And with that comes a sense of purpose. But I mean, we're all here and you all are taking time out of your busy lives, everyone here, everyone on the screen, because there really is so much at stake. You know, I have spent the majority of my career being concerned about the well-being of other people.
Yeah.
As I've said, in my career as a prosecutor, I never looked at a victim or a witness and asked them, are you a Republican or a Democrat? The only thing I ever asked them is, are you okay?
Are you okay? I know when I heard that.
You know?
Touch me.
And traveling this country and knowing what is at stake in terms of fundamental freedoms, what's at stake in terms of fighting against hate and those efforts to divide us. And I do know that I'm in a position to do something about it. So I felt a great responsibility. And the incredible power of the people, right? Who, you know, I'm not the only leader in this. We're all leaders in this. This is so much bigger than me. It's about who we are as Americans. And it's about making clear what we stand for. And what we stand for is, it is about the ideals upon which we were founded, including the importance of freedom and the importance of independence and the importance of dignity and purpose. But it is also about what we stand for in terms of our values.
Okay, at least there was a little bit of an answer mixed in there. It took a really long time. We went into the past, we went into present, went into the future. We talked about what the Americans feel. She did say at least that she felt a great sense of responsibility. So mixed in all that was an actual answer. I'm sure that part was probably true.
So it's a wonderful and important question. You know, my background was as a prosecutor, and I was also the elected Attorney General for 2 terms of a border state. So this is not a theoretical issue for me. This is something I've actually worked on. Okay. I have prosecuted transnational criminal organizations for the trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings. I take very seriously the importance of having a secure border and ensuring the safety of the American people. Sadly, where we are now can be traced most recently back to the fact that when the United States Congress, members of the Congress, including some of the most conservative Republicans, came up with a border security bill. And here's what that border security bill would have done. It would have put 1,500 more border agents at the border. And let me tell you, those border agents are working around the clock. It would have just been about giving them some support and relief, which is probably why the border agents actually endorsed the bill. It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl. And I'm looking at people from all over the country here, so I don't need to tell the folks who are watching this what fentanyl has done to families, to kids in our country, and the need to take seriously stemming the flow coming into our country and addressing that extraordinary and tragic issue in terms of its effect. The bill would have allowed us to have more resources to prosecute transnational criminal organizations. And it would have been part of the solution. And Donald Trump called up those folks and said, don't put that bill on the floor for a vote. He blocked the bill, and you know why?
Why?
Because he'd prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And he has put his personal political security before border security. Because understand, even in the intervening months, what that bill would have done to give support to folks who care about this issue. And this again gets to the point about what does leadership really look like? And is it about you or is it about the people?
Right.
Is it about running on problems or fixing problems? My work and my career has always been about saying, let's fix problems. Let's address the needs, because we know it's within our capacity to do that.
So to answer Justin's question, now that that bill has gone and hasn't passed, will you reintroduce that?
Absolutely, and when I am elected President of the United States, I will make sure that bill gets to my desk and I will sign it into law.
Well, there you go, guys. 3.5 minutes. Didn't even begin to answer the question until Oprah finally bailed her out and asked her again. And she said she'd try to put that same law in. Just so you guys know, that bill, the reason it got voted down, number one, the reason it was proposed in the first place was so that the Republicans would vote it down so that she could sit here and say, I tried to fix it, the Republicans voted it down. That was the entire reason for the bill. The problem with the bill is it gives the president the authority to shut down the border after the 7-day average of illegal crossing encounters averages 4,000 to 5,000 per day. What that means is the government can just they could catch and release up to 2 million illegal immigrants per year before the president feels any obligation to shut down the border. The other issue with it is it did next to nothing to address the backlog issue in the immigration courts because of all these asylum cases that they're having to process. Currently, if they didn't take a single new case, it would take the immigration court a full 5 years just to clear the backlog. That's why it got voted down. It let the president catch and release up to 2 million immigrants a year, and it didn't do anything about the backlog in processing asylum cases. It's a non-solution.
Yeah, first of all, thank you both for being here. And yours is a story I hear around the country as I travel. And in terms of both rightly having the right to have aspirations and dreams and ambitions for your family, and working hard and finding that the American dream is, for this generation and so many recently, far more elusive than it's been. And we need to deal with that. And there are a number of ways. One is bringing down the cost of everyday necessities, including groceries. So that's why I'm taking on, for example, price gouging. Which is when, most companies and corporations are good, but for those bad ones, they take advantage of people, especially during a pandemic or extreme weather, and they end up jacking up prices, and there needs to be accountability and consequence for that. So I'm going to be taking on price gouging. But it's also about dealing with what we need to do around home ownership, right? So as someone mentioned during this film, look, I grew up a child of a mother who worked very hard. She raised me and my sister, and she saved up, and by the time I was a teenager, she was able to buy a home. And we grew up actually for a long time in an apartment on top of a child care center that was owned by the woman we called our second mother, because she helped my mother raise us. And she was a small business owner, Miss Shelton. So I'll bring all this together to tell you the way I think about it is, one, when people work hard and have a dream of buying a home, we should give you the opportunity to be able to do that, which is why part of my plan is for first-time homeowners buyers to have a $25,000 down payment assistance to buy your first home. Because people just need to be able to get their foot in the door, and then you'll do the hard work. Part of my plan is what we need to do to support small businesses, because my second mother was a small business owner, and I love our small businesses and our small business owners. They are not only business leaders, they are community leaders. They mentor, they hire locally, and we have so many entrepreneurs in our country who have great ideas, incredible work ethic, but not necessarily access to capital, because not everybody, like my opponent, was handed $400 million on a silver plate that he filed bankruptcy 6 times on. And so part of my plan is to give startup small businesses a $50,000 tax deduction to start up their small business. Right now it's $5,000. Nobody can start a small business with $5,000. So that's part of my plan.
That's a teeny tiny business.
That's a business in
teeny tiny
right,
business.
Like, it's a concept of a business, right?
Yes.
You know where I'm going. That's right. And
it's still on paper with the $5,000.
Right.
It's still on paper.
It just hasn't happened, right? Part of to speak to you guys and your family and your dreams is what we need to do around giving middle-class families tax breaks. And so part of my plan is also to extend and expand the child tax credit to $6,000 so that you can, in the first year of your child's life, have the resources to be able to buy a crib and a car seat and clothes for your baby, knowing that's such an extraordinarily important time in their development, and you shouldn't have to worry about how you're going to take care of their basic needs. All of this and more is part of what I plan to build, and I call it an opportunity economy. And it's basically about creating opportunities, knowing so many people have the ambition, have the aspirations, are working hard, but just need opportunity to reach their goals and their dreams.
Price gouging. That's the problem. What she's talking about is communism through price controls. This is dipping the toes into communism, which is where she wants us to end up. First, they control the prices, then they control the means of production. It's a gateway. And then she talks about mortgage assistance, small business benefit. Both of these are one-time benefits that only help first-time users. It does nothing for everyone else. She talks about this couple smiling. Nothing that Kamala Harris just said benefits this couple in any way. They are as screwed as they will be as screwed as they are right now. They already bought their home. They won't get the first-time credit. They don't have kids. They won't get the child tax credit. They don't own a business, but even if you own a business or you want to own a business, God help you if it's successful and you incorporate it, because she wants to tax unrealized capital gains. Nobody is going to want to open a business, even if it's wildly successful. They're going to have to turn around and sell it to pay the taxes on stock prices that they never realized in the first place. None of this does anything for the middle class. All they're trying to do is, and now they're in the middle of trying to repeal the Trump tax credits, which helps all Americans.
Yeah. I mean, I think that Doug has said it so eloquently, which is we just need to apply common sense. And look, I think for far too long on the issue of gun violence, some people have been pushing a really false choice to suggest you're either in favor of the Second Amendment or you want to take everyone's guns away. I'm in favor of the Second Amendment, and I'm in favor of assault weapons bans, universal background checks, red flag laws. Here's my point, Oprah, is that I'm not trying to take everyone's guns away. I believe in the Second Amendment, but we have to agree that, look, I did last fall a college tour with college-age young people, so I also did trade schools, and packed audience every time in their auditorium, and I would ask, please raise your hand if at any point between kindergarten and 12th grade you had to endure an active shooter drill. almost every hand went up. It was bone chilling.
Yeah, this is the way our kids are living. Yeah.
And think about it. You know, I grew up, we had fire drills only. Well, I grew up in California, we also had earthquake drills. But the fact that our children are sitting in a classroom where they should be fulfilling their God-given potential and exploring the wonders of the world, and some part of their brain realizes somebody could bust through that classroom door with a weapon, with an assault weapon.
Riveting stuff, guys. Kamala, with Oprah's help, said a whole lot of things there. Nothing about metal detectors, which is what the man asked. Like, didn't even begin to mention an answer to his actual question. They talked about the universal background checks and the red flag laws. For anybody who don't know, the red flag laws, it allows the courts to seize weapons from people who have been convicted of certain crimes, like domestic violence, things like that. But with both the background checks and the red flag laws, there are already over 20 states each, or on each topic, that have created their own laws. In the case of the red flag laws, the Supreme Court even upheld these states' abilities to enact these laws. I'd much rather see that. Let's let the states dictate this policy. We gotta quit trying to let the federal government regulate every moment of our lives. The states are already taking action. These people, if they're upset about it and if they want more laws to be put into place, they need to be talking to their state legislatures, talk to their governors, talk to these state agencies, and have these laws put into place. We don't need the federal government to dictate every moment of our lives. And they keep talking about the evil assault weapons. When they say assault weapons, what they mean, what they're alluding to, are fully automatic weapons. They're already banned. They've been banned. This is a non sequitur. It's already been done. These things are already illegal. This man, who I think I might have cut it out, but he's not a registered Democrat. He's the only one so far that said anything of any consequence, actually trying to come up with a solution to the problem. You install metal detectors in every school. You put an armed guard in every school. School shootings are a thing of the past. You can put in all the laws you want. It's not going to keep somebody from attaining one of these guns. They'll do it illegally. They'll bypass all the red tape and go get it anyway. We need a solution that's actually going to put a stop to this and keep our children safe. This guy was on the right track. You put an armed guard in every school, it's done.
So we will be ready, but just taking a step back, and thank you, Marilyn, for just the gift that you give, your talent, your creativity. Thank you for being here. One of the things that I have realized in the course of our campaign is that more Americans than we may realize who voted for Trump before have decided January 6th was just a bridge too far. When we reflect and think about what January 6th was, where the President of the United States, sitting in the Oval Office, incited a mob, a violent mob, to attack the United States Capitol, such that 140 law enforcement officers were injured, some were killed. To try and upend a free and fair election where the American people voted, that was a bridge too far for a lot of people. And we have sadly now seen how far he could go. And I think there is absolutely no tolerance whatsoever for the vast majority of Americans for that. And they've seen the lies. They understand, for example, almost every court case, I think every court case where he's challenged an election, he lost. I said on the debate stage, look, because he's having a very difficult time obviously processing the fact that 81 million people fired him, right? But, so there is that it really was a bridge too far for so many people that they are not willing to repeat. But the other piece of it is the lawyers are working. It's very important that we all speak to our friends and our neighbors about misinformation and help them now see how it occurs, where it is occurring. It is important that we stand up for the integrity of poll workers and people who are working on election day. And that we also, and this is critically important, that we ask people to be alert about mis and disinformation, and we ask them, do not be afraid to vote. Because I think there is also something quite insidious about these attacks on the electorate in these various forms that are intended to convince people that their vote won't matter. And in that way, there's a little bit of reverse psychology going on here, and let's just make sure nobody falls for it. Your vote does matter, and we cannot let anyone ever take our power from us. We can never let anybody silence us. And when we get those votes out, starting soon, early voting is already going to start this week, I think, through November 5th, and let's make sure everyone votes, and we are going to have a good election day. We're going to fight for the integrity of the people's voice and for our democracy.
Just stop right there. I already know what all of you Bible-thumping, Democrat-hating, racist, sexist, MAGA Republicans are going to say. I already know, and I don't want to hear it. I already know you're sitting there yelling at your monitor saying, she said absolutely nothing about how she's going to guarantee the election gets certified. And it may seem like that. It might, because you're so clouded with your evil red fog. But if you dig deeper, if you really look at the meaning within the meaning within the meaning, you'll see that it's all there. Okay? Kamala's answers are an onion, and you're just unwilling to peel enough layers to find the wisdom. Maybe not. Maybe she didn't answer at all. Maybe she just called Trump and all of us evil, hateful people who want to try to stifle the vote, and we're threatening everyone and making everybody scared and we're the devil and we suck. It could have been that, or the onion thing. Anyway, that's it, guys. You're welcome, by the way. I've spent about 4 hours on this thing going over and over and over, and I'm about to gouge my ears out. So you're welcome. I think I cut all that. There was maybe 10, 15 minutes worth of her actually answering questions. The rest of it was a bunch of glad handing and, oh my gosh, you're the greatest. They spent 20 minutes just on, how courageous women who decide to murder their babies are. And there was no question there. That's the only reason it's not in there. There wasn't a question for her to answer. It was just everybody's, patting each other on the back for killing their babies. The rest of it was pure fluff, and the stuff I added in here was just mock fluff camouflaged as substantive answers, which I don't think we got a single one, and I don't think we will get a single one. So you guys know what you need to know. Hopefully this one was a little different, instead of just cherry picking those speeches, which were god awful bad. I would have loved to have done a video on them too, because my goodness, they were horrible. But like I said, they're everywhere. So I wanted to do something a little different. I wanted to give you guys, here's the question, here's the answer, see what you think. I hope you enjoyed it.